DA leader John Steenhuisen, Johannesburg Executive Mayor Mpho Phalatse and other DA leaders are conducting an infrastructure safety night patrol in the northwestern region of Johannesburg tonight to identify infrastructure concerns. SABC journalist Canny Maphanga and camera operator Neo Mbende are there. Canny, tell us what's happening right now.
Good evening to you, Francis, and the viewers at home. Coming to you live from the Douglasdale Police Station. Now, these are one of the areas that the Democratic Alliance is going to be focusing on with respect to service delivery. Now, we understand that this region has a nearby informal settlement by the name of Kaya Sands, where there have been a number of illegal connections, and that has negatively impacted this community of Douglasdale, and they've had several outages. So we understand that throughout the night till about 7:45, we will be going through different areas to see where some of the damage is, where the areas are prominent for copper cable theft. And DA leader John Steenhuisen joins me together with the MMC for the infrastructure here in the city of Johannesburg, Mr. Michael Sun, to explain further why they've chosen this region. As you understand, the electricity issues in these areas are widespread in Johannesburg, and some of these copper cable theft incidents are widespread in the city. Why particularly this region?
Well, it's not only this region. MMC Sun and his team have been going around to all the regions in Joburg to have a look at it. I just happened to be up here this evening for this one. But obviously it's incredibly important to deal with the scourge of infrastructure theft in South Africa. It costs hundreds of millions of rands every single year, and it affects service delivery. It exacerbates load shedding. It also disrupts business, and also means that ordinary citizens are deprived of electricity and services when the cables are stolen and the infrastructure is stolen. So it's something we've got to tackle as a country. And what I'm very pleased to be doing this evening is with MMC Sun, going out with the Community Police Forum and the SAPS and JMPD and a few other departments in what we call the whole of society approach, an acceptance that no one agency is going to be able to tackle this. It requires the coming together of civil society, CPFs, politicians and government agencies, along with policing authorities, to tackle this properly. It really makes it very difficult to roll out infrastructure to areas that need it when you keep having to replace the same infrastructure in areas where it gets stolen. We also have been granted a debate of urgent public importance in Parliament on the first week when Parliament returns. So I'm hoping the information that we get this evening will be able to feed into that debate, where we're going to table solutions about how, as South Africa, we can deal with this attack on critical infrastructure in South Africa.
And Mr. Sun, you're more familiar with the area of Douglasdale that has had a number of outages. That has been attributed to the surrounding informal settlement, rather, that has a number of illegal connections. Can you talk us through some of these outages that have happened, and where you have found illegal connections and where you have dealt with them speedily?
No, certainly. So John is quite right. You know, this is not the first one. In fact, this is the sixth one that we've done in the city of Johannesburg, that we initiated the infrastructure protection night patrols, that we go out to every single community. You know, we've been to Soweto, we've been to other parts of Joburg, and as you rightfully pointed out, that the nearby informal settlement of Kaizen is a particular problem, that the extent of illegal connections is now impacting on the paying residents and customers. We had recently an operation to disconnect all the illegal connections, only to be threatened that if we should do so, that they will cause absolute chaos and absolute power outage for everybody. So that's kind of brazenness we are facing with the criminals and people that are wanting to steal infrastructure, steal electricity. And at the same time, when we have these rolling blackouts, the thieves are only too happy because there are extended periods of time where they can go steal cables, they can vandalize our infrastructure. This is important for us. We're going to go out with the information that we get from the community members, from the community patrollers, and say that we not only have to support you, but we certainly want to take that useful information and better equip ourselves as the multi-party government in the city of Johannesburg to ensure that we enhance service delivery. And certainly, you know, through our colleagues at the national level, to push through those important legislation that we need to really curb vandalism and theft of infrastructure in the city of Johannesburg, but not just in Joburg alone, but across the country. And one other thing that's very important, that if you look at the statistics, that South Africa is not a copper exporting country, but producing country, but we export more copper than we produce. So that tells you something. That's certainly something that we also need to look at. And this is why we're here out as a team, as a community, not just the police, but the local government, the national politicians, who are working out to ensure that we better service our residents in the Joburg.
And perhaps both Mr. Steenhuisen and Mr. Sun can answer what are you looking at to protect this public infrastructure? Because this situation is not going to go away anytime soon.
So we want to make, from a national level, to have copper theft declared a standalone priority crime, so there's much stiffer sentences for those who are involved in the theft and sale of copper. As MMC Sun has said, we export huge amounts of copper mainly to China through our ports. We've got to cut and throttle the ability of the scrap metal to leave the country through those ports. We also then need to make sure that we have a dedicated units within cities, and I know Joburg and Tshwane are moving towards dedicated units on being able to tackle infrastructure damage, particularly because of the excessive cost every year and the huge inconvenience and damage it causes to the economy. And then to be able to have a number of national interventions, enforcing the Second-Hand Goods Act. We've already seen there's already a bunch of scrap dealers that to completely disregard the Second-Hand Goods Act. It needs to be rigorously enforced. And we need to obviously make sure that we're providing the resources. A lot of countries are looking at things like special markings and coding on their infrastructures that would make it very, very accessible to be able to determine where it's been stolen from and who has stolen it. And we've got to use this technology to be able to try and combat this. But we cannot continue to lose hundreds of millions of rands in our economy every year to this type of theft.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. That was DA leader John Steenhuisen and MMC Michael Sun just joining us briefly to explain what it is that we'll be doing ahead of this evening, going to different areas within this region. It's just one of the many regions that they have visited that deal with this issue of electricity and copper cable theft and how it adversely impacts the residents that are paying for electricity in the city of Johannesburg. Over to you in studio.